Welcome. Today is session 6 of CareerForce and More for Employers. This is our chance to go over all of the resources that are available through CareerForce system and on careerforcemn.com, along with our co-site minnesotaworks.net, and provide you all of the resources that will help you in your business, in recruiting, retention, and in hiring. It really is designed for small bits of information, things that you can grab and go and maybe implement this week and then come back for a few more next week. So we're so happy to have all of you here. These are the different topics that we've run throughout the past 6 weeks. First, we had an overview in like top 5 pages that are the most used for employers, job fairs, hiring resources, a deep dive into using minnesotaworks.net. Then we met some of our employer services team members from Veterans Disability Hiring Services or Vocational Rehabilitation and Workforce Strategy Consultant team. Last week, we talked about labor market, help desk, labor market data and resources that you can access on your own, along with putting in requests for more information, a little bit about business development and economic development resources, and that gets us to today, where we're going to be looking at justice-involved resources, federal bonding, and WOTC program. So on our careerforcemn.com website, we call them tailored resources. And I'll show you a screenshot of the website in just a moment. But under tailored resources, we have information on ensuring inclusion, help with veterans, which we covered a couple weeks ago, along with the disabilities. But then also we have information on hiring seasonal migrant and seasonal farm workers, about employing youth, and about hiring people with a criminal record. When you go to the website, this is the screenshot of what it looks like. You'll go to For Employers on the top, and then pull down, and on the left or right-hand side, you'll see it says attract talent, develop, retain, and then tailored resources. If you click on that plus sign to expose the drop-down menu, then you get to all of those sub-menus. So joining us today is Jeremiah Carter, Job Services Manager of the Seasonal and Migrant Farm Workers, the Justice Involved team, and the WOTC and Federal Bonding Program. So good morning, Jeremiah. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. And just one minor correction. I don't oversee the work opportunity tax credit. Lena Bulk will be providing some information on that today as she oversees that team.
Yep.
But I do oversee
Thanks.
the federal bonding. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and Lena's here, so she'll be right after you. Good. Take it
Perfect.
away.
Thank you. Well, welcome everyone, and thank you, Liz, for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to talk about the federal bonding program. If we could go to the next slide, it'll really kind of give us a idea of what is fidelity bonding and what is the purpose of fidelity bonding. The reason we use fidelity bonding at this point is really to give individuals a second chance at employment. I know sometimes, this is a very untapped workforce. There's good people in the market, but they just need that second chance. And sometimes when meeting with an employer, there can be some hesitation, or there could be just issues that won't allow you to hire these individuals. It could be for liability reasons. It can be just company policies. Well, this federal bonding program is put in place to really give you some security if you were on the fence about hiring an individual. So as the slide says, what is fidelity bonding? It is set up as a protection for the employer against employee dishonesty. When we're talking individuals on how to really talk about this program with employers, it's used as an incentive. And one of the things that I talk about, especially with the justice involved population, is that this information should not be shared as in an interview when you get that question, why should I hire you? This should not be your reasons for being hired. As we stated before, this is an incentive to an employer to hire what we deem as an at-risk job applicant. With this particular coverage, it does not cover poor workmanship. It covers any loss due to theft, forgery, larceny, embezzlement. So it will not cover if an employee doesn't show up for work or if an employee is just not good at that particular job. But it will cover, the employee getting in the job and you know not that this is something that we want, but if that employee were to take something from that actual employer, this bonding coverage will cover that at no deductible for you. Um, Another misconception about the bond program and is it is not for self-employment. So I've had a number of individuals reach out to me that were self-employed and wanted to bond themselves or bond their business. What I always tell them is I cannot provide this bond for your business, but if you hire employees that qualify for this program, then I can bond these individuals. It is also not a bail bond and it's not used in legal proceedings as well. Next slide, please, Liz. So what's the purpose and why would you use a federal bonding? For us as job developers and placement specialists, it really helps us to send out fewer referrals to employers because again, this is an incentive and it's an insurance policy and it creates retention. So it gives an individual a chance to prove themselves at no cost to that employer. So for us as developers, it creates a level of efficiency for us and the employer because they get a steady employee as well as the job applicant because it creates possible retention opportunities for these individuals. One of the things that we talk about when we're in the correctional facilities with individuals is this is a unique marketing tool as well as the work opportunity tax credit that Lena is going to talk about afterwards. It's really a unique marketing tool that they can talk about that may get an employer's attention. And again, it can push them over the top, especially if they have the skill set necessary to do a job and they can offer an employer a no cost bond as well as a tax credit that may push them over the top over other employees because they have those two incentives as well as all the skills necessary to do the job. And then the efficiency of the program is that there's no paperwork involved for you, for the employee. As employers, once you give a job offer, all you would have to do is reach out to the bonding coordinator, which is myself. I will definitely get flyers to Liz and she can send this out to everyone that's on the call today. But it's a very simple process. It's really a phone call. It's an interview process that takes about 15 to 20 minutes that I would have with each employer. We go over some specific information on your place of business, the type of responsibilities that this individual would have, and that's how we really kind of determine the dollar amount of the bonding, and I'll get into that shortly here. But what we do is that 15 to 20 minute phone call will let us know who this individual is, who you are, and then we can issue the bond. So again, there's no paperwork involved in this process. Once the bond is issued, you are actually able to hold on to that bond for 6 months. After that 6 month time frame, I will personally check in with you to see how things are going. Typically, most employers that I have issued bonds to are fine after that 6 months and do no longer need the bonding insurance. But if you do still require that bonding insurance or would like to keep that bonding insurance, there's some options that we can talk about at that point on how you can keep that insurance. But again, once the bond is issued, it is issued for a 6 month time frame at no cost to you as an employer. And again, there is no paperwork involved. So again, it's a very efficient process, instant issue. Everything is done electronically. After the bond is submitted, you will receive the document in the mail within 7 to 10 business days, but it's all done computer-wise. So why these bonds are effective and what the hope is that we can create a wider range of jobs for individuals. We can get individuals back into fields that they possibly couldn't work in due to their justice involved their status as a justice involved individual. So if we can get some individuals back into jobs that they had before that crime was committed, this is a win-win for everyone involved. As it says here, it creates a greater number of placements. For me, I think it creates a greater number of retention opportunities because we can keep these individuals on that job a lot longer. Saves taxpayers money, and it creates taxpayers, which saves us as taxpayers a lot of money. And then the impact, I think from a community standpoint, it reduces reincarceration if we can get these individuals back in their communities, get them successfully working and successfully contributing to themselves, their families, and the community. It creates a good situation all around. If individuals are on the job, as I stated before, with the job retention piece, there's a chance for upward mobility, so they have increased earnings. They're able to, maintain themselves and maintain their families as well. And then that employment barriers is eliminated because typically what we see is that if you hire one individual and they work out, you are going to continue to tap into that employment pool or that candidate pool for other applicants. And with these opportunities, it's just not for one employee. If you were to hire 20 employees that had justice involved backgrounds, they would all be eligible for these bonding services. Next slide, please. So how to apply for the bond, I kind of explained that earlier, but once you confirm employment with the individual, you simply just have to make a phone call. And again, one of the points that I failed to make was that this works for full or part-time employment. It does not matter. It does not matter the size of your business. As long as you pay taxes right, as long as you issue checks to these individuals and federal taxes are taken from their checks, these individuals would be eligible for our particular program. Again, full or part-time employment, all we have to have is a start date for this individual when we go through that interview process. As I stated before, there's no paperwork for you or the employee to sign in this process, and the process is no cost to you for that entire 6-month period. If you would like to extend the bond after that 6-month period, there are some options that we can talk about at that particular time. And I know for the sake of time, we won't get into those options, but if you have some specific questions, my name and contact info is at the end of the PowerPoint presentation. You can definitely follow up with me with those questions. With the bonds, the dollar amounts of the bonds that are issued, each bond is typically issued at $5,000. But again, in that interview process, we talk about the level of responsibility that this particular employee may have. And based on that level of responsibility that the employee may have, some employers want more money. They want to be insured for more money. So if you're working with an individual I will use a bank teller as a good example. So if we had someone that was a bank teller that was responsible for large amounts of money, they may want more than $5,000 worth of coverage. I can take these bonds from $5,000 all the way up to $25,000, again, based on the level of responsibility that an individual would have on the job. So the bonds are issued in $5,000 increments, so 5, 10, 15, 20, and $25,000. With these bonds, they are issued the day that we have that conversation. I do all the work electronically. The bond is issued at that point electronically, and then again, you will receive a physical copy of the bonding information in the mail and how the process works if you ever were to cash in this bond. With these bonds, also, there is no deductible to the employee or to the employer if you ever were to cash in this bond. So again, you would not have to pay a deductible if a person was convicted for theft, forgery, or embezzlement. You would not have to pay a deductible for the amount of the bond that you claim. Next slide, please. Can you click it one more time, Liz? There's a few points. Perfect. So with the bonding program, there are two tracks to this bonding program because with the Fidelity Bonding program, there are so many eligibility requirements, those eligibility requirements being record of arrest, conviction, or imprisonment. And that's what we're talking about here today, specifically the justice involved. But it also works for economically disadvantaged youth or adults who lack work history, a history of alcohol or drug abuse, an individual with poor credit history, welfare recipients, dishonorable discharge, or even a person that just lacks employment history that needs to be bonded or needs that security in order to get a job. But we were actually given some additional funding to really focus on and target the justice involved community as well as those dealing with substance abuse issues. And that is what this slide really talks about, is that we were given a $100,000 grant to focus on these specific populations and provide these bonds for these individuals. So I have been doing a lot of presentations. And again, thank you, Liz, for giving me this opportunity to talk to these employers. But I've been doing multiple presentations for employers to let employers know that there's an untapped market out there with that justice involved population, as well as those that are in treatment facilities or recovering from substance abuse issues. So we did get that $100,000 to provide this service for up to 800 individuals that are recovering from those, transitioning back into the communities, as well as recovering from those substance abuse policies. So if we could go to the next slide, please. I know my time is up. And there's my contact information. And if you would like to share your information or get your information out, you can definitely contact me directly. There are so many coalitions and DOC represented focus groups where you can actually place your job information, reach out to individuals that have that justice involved background. So please reach out to me if you have any questions or would like to connect to any of those transition coalition groups. Thank you very much, Liz.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, and Jeremiah, that was my main follow-up question, because when I get phone calls from our employers who say, yeah, I could hire some people who are justice involved. Where do I go? What do I turn? Do we just connect them straight to you, the employers to you? Is there anything else?
I would be happy to take those calls and route those calls to those direct contacts. So please feel free to route any of those calls to me. I would be happy to help.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're going to invite Lena Bulk, another one of our coworkers on this team, and she's going to talk about the companion program, work opportunity tax credits. So we'll see if Lena is on.
I'm here.
Here you are.
Well, thanks, Liz, and good morning, everybody. I'm happy to be here today to provide just a little bit of information about the Work Opportunity Tax Credit Program. And just to kick it off here, just to give a quick little definition of what is the Work Opportunity Tax Credit Program, which we refer to here as WOTC. So that's a very popular acronym here at DEED, but it is a federal tax credit incentive for employers to encourage them to hire individuals who have faced many difficult employment prospects. I'll move to the next slide. The program background, the intent is, again, is to help individuals obtain employment who've had significant barriers to employment because of a variety of reasons. It could be a lack of education, low skills. They may have a disability, but it could also be for individuals such as veterans as well. It's a great way for people with those difficult backgrounds to get into employment employment and provide the employer that hires them an opportunity to receive that tax credit. Currently, the WOTC program is valid through, the tax incentive is been authorized through December 31st of 2025. So we are excited about that. We've got a few more years here, and I'm assuming it'll continue to go on after that as well. But right now it is authorized through 2025. Any for-profit employer can use WOTC. Nonprofit employers can as well, but only for veteran target groups only. Next slide. Yep. And just to give you a little idea of some of the different qualified targeted groups, this is not all of them, but this is just a little sampling. I'll give some resources at the end here of the slides to links to our website, which will give you that full list of all the different targeted groups. But just to give you a little snapshot of that, here are some of the different targeted groups that employers can consider when hiring individuals and submitting information for the tax credit. And the next slide. Just wanted to give some basic information and kind of the impact that WOTC can make and benefit for an employer. Depending on the individual that is hired in their targeted group, the tax savings can range from anywhere from $2,400 to $9,600, just depending on that eligible new hire and the targeted group that they are in. So it's just a great way for an employer to increase their bottom line when they are hiring and bringing somebody on board. On the next slide. How much paperwork? It's very easy. There are just two forms that an employer needs to fill out with the job applicant, the IRS 8850 and the ETA 9061. We have all those links to those documents on our website, and all of those resources are available. The employers and their representatives should submit those applications, those forms, to Deed directly. They can do that really easily through our online automated system. To get access to that system, though, you do have to contact our WOTC unit and talk to the WOTC coordinator. Her name is Karen Marbury, and I'll have her information here at the end of the slides. And there's also some basic information here and some phone numbers as well that you can, and emails that you can utilize to reach out to the WOTC team and Karen in particular to get access to the online system, as well to get those applications submitted. One of the things just want to make sure that the employers are aware of, that applications must be submitted within 28 calendar days of the new hire's job start date. So just want to make sure that that is important. A reminder for employers as you're submitting those applications. Just some basic program facts about WOTC. The tax credit is available to any size of business, so from very large to really small, does not matter. It covers permanent, temporary, or seasonal work, full-time, part-time status. There's no limit on the number of individuals that of qualified new hires that can be submitted. There is no credit, though, for hiring former employees, relatives, dependents, independent contractors, or majority owners of a business. There is also no limit on the amount of WOTC credits a business can claim in any taxable year. And if you do not use that credit, you can carry it back 1 year or carry it forward up to 20 years. And then finally here, just to wrap things up with the information, just wanted to make sure that you are aware that on our website, CareerForceMN.com, we have some great resources. We have a WOTC quick reference guide for employers that really provides you with a snapshot of the details, the quick details that you need. We also have a FAQ that was sent to us, published by the Internal Revenue Service, so some additional information there as well. well. So lots of great resources on our websites. And again, for any questions that you have, you can always reach out to Karen Marbury. She is our WOTC coordinator. She's great. She's been with the program for over 20 years. So she has a lot of knowledge, and so she's a great person to reach out to. That is her direct number there. And then we also have the Deed WOTC email address as well. So you feel free to use that to reach out to her with any questions or to get access to our online automated system to submit and upload your forms for the eligible hires. And thank you so much again today for this opportunity. Liz?
Thank you. Yep, we're at time. It's 8:26. So I appreciate everyone being here and listening. I hope some of this information will be helpful to you in your business. Reach out to me, liz.jennings@state.mn.us, or reach out to Jeremiah Carter or Lena Bullock or any of them. I can put you in touch with them too if you need it. I will be sending out a message to everyone who's attended the series in the past 6 weeks to get some feedback, see what I can do differently. I appreciate everyone being here, and come next week, next Thursday, for the last session of this series. So thank you very much, and see you next week.